Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my studio. This is Paint with Lovejoy. Thanks so much for joining me today. In today's painting, we're going to paint this barrel roll wave. Let me actually say that again. A barrel roll wave. And you're going to get kind of comfortable with layering some colors on there and also kind of keeping your color scheme rather simple. We use a little bit of yellow and orange, and then we'll be using various shades of blue. So you'll get kind of comfortable with mixing your different colors and your gradations of colors. With any painting that I teach, I just want you to get a little bit more comfortable, and I want you to kind of find a creative outlet on a monthly basis. Your future self will be very grateful that you found and started painting today. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and check out the other videos so that way you can paint on a monthly basis. If you're here for a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, thank you for coming back and thank you for painting. In this painting, in the description box below, you are going to see a link to a supply kit. And that supply kit is everything that you need for this particular painting. So check out the extra supplies you might need to grab or the colors, grab what you need, and then pick this video back up. You're also going to see a link to what I call a traceable. And a traceable is a way for you to get that initial image, that initial composition on your canvas before you even start painting. And for my first time painters, this is an excellent tool to utilize to take out some of that beginning stress before you even paint. So check out the link for the traceable. There's also a video on how to transfer your traceable. So check those out. And then again, pick up this video where you need to start painting. Again, as you go through the painting process, be kind to yourself. And when you are ready to kind of improve your skills and take your skills to the next level, check out my main website, paintwithlovejoy.com, and check out my featured course, Paint Your Pet. And the course is geared towards first-time and beginner painters. When you paint something that you love, like your pet, you learn even more than you thought you were capable of. All right, so let's go ahead and get started painting. All right, guys, this is going to be a really fun painting. So gather all the supplies and the colors that you need. Make sure you turn on your favorite music. And as always, make sure you take your progress photos. So once you've got your traceable transferred to your surface, you have two options here. First option is the one that I recommend, and that's using the pointy brush and black paint. And you're going to go over all those outlines that you just transferred to your canvas. And as you're working with the brush, I want you to play with the pressure of your brush. Light pressure is going to be smaller, skinnier lines. More pressure is going to be a bit wider or fatter lines. Now, as you're doing your lines, it doesn't matter if you have a combination of wide and skinny lines. Just get comfortable with the brush. You will be painting over these, so we'll kind of lose those as we go through the painting process. If you are short on time, you've got option number 2, which is you can use a black Sharpie marker and go over those outlines and then move into the painting process. Again, I recommend option number 1 just for the process of practice. And then make sure you take your progress picture, and we're going to move into light yellow. So you can see where I'm mixing some white and yellow, and we're going to start on the inside of our wave, this kind of half circle, half moon shape. And you can see I'm bringing it right up next to what we consider our horizon line. We're looking through the wave for the section that we're painting on right now, and filling that whole space in with this light yellow mixture. Now, I did think that that was a little too yellow for me, so I actually just grabbed some of that straight white, painted right on top of my yellow-white mixture, and that toned it down just a little bit. So feel free to adjust the color to what you need. Now we're going to take that straight yellow and just paint right on top of some of the areas we were just working on. If you're one of my first-time painters, make sure you take a deep breath. You may not realize it, but you might be holding your breath, so relax. All right, now we're adding a tiny amount of orange to our yellow and white mixture, and it gives us this kind of sherbety orange color. Your orange may be a slightly different shade than the one that I'm working with. Whatever you create is perfectly acceptable. And then go through and adjust anything that you want. I wanted a little bit brighter yellow, so I'm going back to the yellow. But you can add and change this section as much as you like. Go ahead and pause the video and take your progress photo. You're going to clean your brush really good, and now we're moving into light blue. And that's white with a tiny amount of blue. And you can see on the video that I actually made the mixture twice because the first time was darker than what I wanted. All right, and we're going to take this light blue mixture and we're going right below that horizon line and filling in a good amount of space. And then we're going to just progressively get darker and darker blues as we fill up the canvas space. And as we go through this process, I just want you to do your best to kind of look at the places where I put this shade, the weird kind of abstract shape that they make, and do your best to mimic that on the canvas. You will have slightly different shades of blue than I do, maybe a slightly different shape, but as long as you're within the range and kind of following along, you will have a kind of a nice barrel roll wave painting. And if you need to make your light blue shade second, third, fourth time, don't stress about getting the exact same shade of blue each time. We are filling in the remaining of this space with quite a few different shades of blue, so a little more variety is to your benefit. Again, if you're holding your breath, take a deep breath. You're doing a great job. Just the fact that you're actually going through this process is a stress-relieving aspect for your world. All right, so here I'm actually making a bit darker blue, adding a little bit more blue to the mixture I was just using. And I want you to do the same thing at home. Just add a little bit more blue to what you were using so that way you're going 1 or 2 shades darker than the shade you were just using. If you're one of my first-time and beginner painters, you may be kind of, you want to be a little more sparing with your paint. That's kind of where you're inclined to go. I'm going to encourage you today to apply your paint a little bit thicker. Think about icing a cake or buttering your toast. You want to pick up enough pigment that your brush is going to glide back and forth. And also when you apply your paint a little bit thicker, it takes a little bit longer for the paint to dry. So when you switch colors from your shade of light blue to your darker blue and darker blue, you can actually do a little bit of blending when the two colors meet each other if both shades are still wet paint. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're a first-time painter and your paint is dry by the time you go to the next color, that's okay. That just happens to be your style for today. And you could paint this 2 and 3 times and you'll get more and more comfortable with your blending, with mixing your colors, and just even with layering your paint. Because we will go through all these colors a second time and put more detail on top of our base colors. So you're doing a great job. We're still kind of using that medium blue, which is white and blue mixed. Filling in kind of these weird abstract shapes for our wave. All right, so now we're actually moving into using more of the straight blue, but you can still mix it into the mixture you were just using, so that way you're going a shade or 2 darker. But we're adding more blue to that mixture and kind of, again, just hugging the shape from our lighter blues that we were using and filling in a good portion of the remaining canvas space showing. And here you can kind of see where my lighter blue is still wet and I'm mixing it in with that darker blue. I am using light pressure, and where the two colors meet, just moving my brush back and forth. You will get more comfortable and better at this with more practice. And for your brush strokes, if you're kind of thinking that your brush stroke is moving in the direction of the wave, that kind of helps give a flow for our painting. And again, if that kind of confuses you or you're not quite sure, the more that you paint, the more you'll learn to control the direction of your brush stroke. So don't feel like you have to do everything right now. You're learning a lot. Your brain's taking on a lot of new information. Your muscles are learning a lot about holding the brush, about the pressure of the brush, about mixing your colors. And again, hopefully you are so focused on this painting in front of you that you have forgotten about the outside world, even just for an hour or two. And that is one of the most beautiful aspects of the painting process. So enjoy it. All right. So now using even more of that blue, that direct blue, a little bit darker than what we were just using. And I'm going to fill in kind of the last 3 little corners around here. If you have already used your direct blue and you need to go a little bit darker, you can take your blue and mix a little bit of purple in with it, or a tiny amount of black to make it go a little bit darker than what you were using. So again, your painting, feel free to adjust as you need to. There we go, in that top left corner, filling in that last part of that space. And again, at this point, after this color, there should be no canvas space showing. And this is what we call an underpainting. And we will be layering colors on top of this in the next couple of steps. If you have any points of white canvas showing through, go ahead and just grab the appropriate shade of blue and fill it in. You're doing great. Remember to get out of your chair and look at your painting from a distance of about 3 to 10 feet away and start noticing how you observe it from that distance. All right, so pause the video and take your progress photo. Now we're going to go back and start with those same colors that we started with and go through the whole process again. So I did move down to that small pointy brush, and we're making that light yellow mixture. And we're going to be making skinnier lines, so I want you to use light pressure. And again, just kind of observe where I place some of these little dash marks, these little lines, and kind of the direction that they're going. You're using and utilizing your power of observation as you go through the painting process. You're looking on screen, observing what I do, and then you're going and translating that to your canvas. So be kind to yourself. This is a constant process of refining and understanding how you observe things. So you're learning a lot right now. And my blue paint underneath this was fully dry before I moved into doing the yellow. So if you needed to kind of take a little bit of a longer break to let your underpainting dry before you move into these steps, go ahead and do that. Pause the video, take your break, and then come back in about 10 minutes and pick up where you left off. Again, we're using that pointy brush, grabbing more paint every 2 or 3 brush strokes. And we're just kind of giving the hint of the reflection of the sun on the water with this particular step. And again, just using light pressure with that brush, treating that pointy brush as if it's a pencil. So you're just using the tip of it to create these kind of smaller accent lines. And if you are inclined to put this color or any color that we use today in a place that I do not put that, go ahead, trust your instincts. It may end up being an awesome spot to put it and you're grateful that you did that. But trust your instincts when you're painting because they are naturally guiding you in the correct direction. If you end up painting something and you don't like it or you later realize, maybe I want a different color there, all you do is just paint right on top of your acrylic paint after that has dried. And it generally dries in about 15 minutes. All right, so now we're actually just grabbing that straight yellow and adding a few more intense highlights back in that above the horizon line and then back in the reflections of our wave. And this straight yellow is going to hang out next to that lighter yellow areas that we were painting a moment ago. Again, using that small pointy brush, light pressure, and just the tip of the brush. And again, moving your brush kind of in the direction that the wave is falling, that the water is moving. Remember to take a deep breath, relax. You're doing a great job. Takes a lot of courage to paint at home. I'm really, really proud of you. And this is hopefully the first of many paintings that you'll be doing at home. You're doing a great job. And if you need to, if you're using student grade paint, feel free to apply this paint kind of on the thick side. It'll be a bit more opaque when you apply it thicker. And if you're using artist grade paint, it's probably already pretty opaque to begin with. So just kind of play with that. All right, so now we're going to go with that light yellow and orange. So adding a touch of orange to that white and yellow mixture we were using. Again, it's going to be kind of that sherbety orange color. And going back to where we started, these small little dash marks or little curved lines moving in the direction of the wave. And they are hanging out next to the yellow and light yellow colors that we just added. Again, utilizing your power of observation in the general area of where I'm placing these marks on my canvas, and then you're going to do your best to mimic that on yours. Don't forget to pause and take your progress photo. And we're going to be using light blue. So starting with our light blue and working towards the darker blues, and then we'll be adding a little bit of black towards the end. And again, using light pressure and moving our brush strokes in little dash marks, and again in the direction that the water would be going. So as it's close to our horizon line, they're kind of horizontal little dash marks. And as we get into the barrel roll wave, then our lines kind of start to curve and mimic the shape of that barrel roll. All right, and again, notice how this lighter blue looks when you place it on top of the darker blue or when you place it on top of the lighter blue. Just notice how your eye is interpreting the darker or lighter shades next to each other. And the more that you paint, the more you're going to start recognizing this in everyday life as the things that you look at. How do you interpret one color when it's next to another color? And this is a lifelong learning process of how we see color. And it does make your world a little more entertaining when you start recognizing these spaces. All right, so moving into the medium blue now. All right, so moving into the medium blue now. And just going a little bit darker than what you were using. And again, just kind of mimicking and overlapping some of the shapes that we were just adding, or the direction of the brushstrokes that we were just adding. Again, notice how this slightly darker blue looks on top of the lighter blue compared to being on top of the darker blue. We can actually kind of lose it when it's on top of the darker blue because it's such a similar shade, but it stands out more when we put this darker shade on top of the lighter shades. And this is part of you being a magician as you paint, because we are creating the illusion of this kind of 3D object, this depth, on a flat 2D surface. And the more that you paint, the more you'll kind of start to understand this and see more. But as we put a dark color next to a light color, that's what gives us that illusion of depth. All right, so now we're actually using that straight blue, still with the same brush strokes, same movement mimicking the shape, but now we're with a pretty much darker blue on top of that lighter blue and still making those little dash marks. And again, it's okay to be a little bit more heavy-handed with the paint application for this, especially if you're using that student grade paint. A thicker application will give you a bit more of an opaque coverage. If you're finding that you have a lot of buildup on your brush, a lot of paint that's kind of hanging out on the bristles or hanging out on top of that metal bracket where the bristles are held together. It's completely okay to wipe off that extra paint on your brush, and what that's going to do is bring your bristles back together so you can make some of those smaller lines. So if you're finding out that your lines are super wide and that's not how you started out, take a look at your brush, and if you need to wipe off that excess paint, go right ahead and do that. And here we go. This is a nice section where you can see that dark blue on top of the lighter blue, and how it gives that kind of illusion, that contrast, that depth that we're going for on this flat surface. And as you can see, the brush strokes that I'm doing now, I'm not filling in a huge chunk of space, but these are almost like little dash marks, allowing some of the underneath colors to shine through in between the brush strokes. So kind of play with that. Again, recognize how you're interpreting these. Go back and look at your progress pictures and see how it changes as you add each color. Again, you're just putting more information into your brain in how we interpret the world, how we interpret our colors, and again, how we're creating that illusion on this flat surface. All right, so now you're actually going to take some black and blue. We're going a lot darker. And you'll notice that a little bit of black goes a long way to make a very dark blue. And now this is going to be one of our final, our darkest shadow steps. And if you need to adjust your color, go right ahead. And again, this is our darkest, our boldest color that we're putting on there. And this is what's going to give it that kind of pop value as you look at your painting from about 10 to 15 feet away. So still sticking with those little dash marks, moving in the direction that the water would be going. Again, as we approach the horizon line, these are horizontal brush strokes, and as we move into the wave, these are little dash marks curving in the direction of the water flow. You're doing a great job. And if you're kind of being harsh to yourself right now, be kind. Again, just the fact that you're painting at home and you're following along, you're doing wonders for yourself and your stress levels. You may be a little stressed out about your canvas right in front of you, but that's okay, because hopefully while you're painting this, this is the only thing that you are focusing on, and your brain is resting about all the other drama that you deal with on a daily basis. Painting is a nice way to kind of escape the normal, average daily stresses. And it helps you deal with them when you have outlets like this. So please find a way to be creative on a monthly basis for yourself. It is more beneficial than you realize. All right, and every now and then, feel free to get out of your chair, look at your painting from a distance, take that picture on your cell phone, and study your picture on your cell phone when you take your next progress photo. And when you look at it on your phone, it's the same thing as looking at your painting from 20 feet away without getting out of your chair. So another really good tool to utilize during the painting process to kind of get that different perspective and go, oh, I'm actually doing pretty good, not so bad. So remember to do those and find those outlets as you paint to kind of keep yourself humble, keep your perspective going, because again, just the fact that you're painting and going through the process is successful in itself. All right, and this wave is taking shape nicely. Adding more of those kind of shadow values and intense contrast in the barrel portion of this wave. And then we will be adding a bit of a landscape, kind of a horizon line, on a bit of a landscape on our horizon line, sorry. So going back to that horizon line right here, kind of drawing a line separating where the water meets the horizon line, and it's not going fully across, maybe about 2/3 of the way. And then above that line, kind of create your slight little landscape. If you want to throw some palm trees on there or a specific cliff, go right ahead and do that. If you don't want to add this at all, you do not have to. But this just kind of helps give a still point for the focus of our composition, looking back at that horizon line through the barrel of this wave. And going back with more black, adding in a few areas. We are going to get kind of heavy-handed with the black, and then we'll let this dry and come in with white for the white caps of our waves and our highlights. As you're working closer to the horizon line, using light pressure, treating this pointy brush like a pencil, and using just the tip of the brush to apply paint to the canvas. All right, pause the video. We're going to move into white paint. I do want you to let your black paint fully dry before you do this step. So if you need to leave a little bit of time for that, go right ahead and do that. And for this, I am using that medium flat brush and just using the end of it and tapping the end and pulling it back up and tapping to make this kind of like the wave cap, this white, and you are placing it kind of overlapping some of those darker spaces, and you can get rather heavy-handed with this white. This is giving us our sharp contrast next to that black and those dark blues, and again, just kind of this is what's really going to make the painting pop. And this is one of the few times that more is better. So again, just as I go through this, even if you want to fast forward to the end of this section and see where the white was placed, just do the best that you can to mimic this shape. And then remember to walk away from your canvas, look at it from that distance of 3 to 15 feet away, and observe how it looks from that distance. How is your eye interpreting this bright white next to that black, next to that dark blue? Is it looking like a wave? Does it create kind of a nice illusion? And then we're going to take that same brush, same kind of dash marks that we were making when we were using the blue, but putting some highlights on top of our water and in our sky and close to our horizon line. Again, you're just going to do your best to mimic what you see on the screen. You're doing a great job. And again, if you're using student grade paint, every couple of brush strokes, especially with the white, grab more paint because you're going to get in a groove, but you'll kind of realize that you're in this groove, but you're not applying more paint to the canvas. So every 2 or 3 brush strokes with the white, grab more paint so that way you can apply it thicker on top of these darker colors. And if you need to, feel free to take some progress pictures in between during these stages right now, because it is cool to see how much it changes with just one color. All right, doing a great job. If you're inclined to put the white somewhere that I don't put it, feel free to do that. And now I'm moving back to a little bit of that light blue. And just adding a few little touches in a few random areas just to give a bit more contrast for where that barrel roll kind of separates from the regular water, the flat water. Anything that you want to adjust, if you need to go back to another color, if you want to introduce a new color, go right ahead and add any final touches that you want to your painting. Again, I'm really grateful that you have painted with me. All right, so using a little bit of that light blue over on top of some of the white, and then you can go back with the white to kind of diffuse the color a little bit. But again, anything that you need to add, if you want to add extra colors, if your instincts are encouraging you to put a color or a shade somewhere that I did not put it, go right ahead and follow and trust your instincts. You've done a great job today. I'm really proud of you. Thanks so much for painting with me, and I look forward to painting with you in the future. Cheers. Hey guys, I hope your paintings turned out really nice and that you are a little more relaxed with the painting process and happy with your results. You will get better and more comfortable the more that you paint. So please find a creative outlet on a monthly basis for yourself and watch your skills improve. Like I said in the intro, when you're ready to step up and improve your skills even more, check out my Paint Your Pet course on my main website, paintwithlovejoy.com. If you have any questions, please send me an email. As you're uploading your pictures from this painting to your social media, please tag me, Paint with Lovejoy, or email those photos, paintwithlovejoy@gmail.com. It is through your support, encouragement, photos, comments, everything that is continued to help this channel grow and has also given me ideas of what to paint in the future. So if you want me to paint something into a tutorial, leave a comment below and I will put that in my production list. So yeah, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to paint with me. I look forward to painting with you in the future. Cheers. Have a great day. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my website, blah, 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 blah.